So we have, in the last couple of videos, we've set this actor up. So I can look up, down, look all around, and I can walk and I could turn. And that's about it. But if I look up too high, you can put the camera through the ground plane. So what we're going to do, we're going to need a camera controller for a bunch of different things. And since you always need a camera, we have an always sensor hooked to a Python controller. And then this little bit of logic is, if your target's a string, look up the game object instead. That's your target. So the initial target is going to be actor. So now this cube is initially targeting the actor. I'm going to name this camera control. So there we go. So for child in own target dot children recursive. So now we're going to sort through the target's children objects and look for a property. If cam base in child so I'm going to add a property in the spine bone that's going to have the camera parented to it, and we're going to call it cam base, and it's a string, which is actually a vector, so it's a list. So we're going to start the list with this symbol, and then the next is going to be the offset we want. So since the camera is here, I'm going to grab it on the z-axis. It looks like we wanted about 10 units behind the actor. So this is based on this thing's orientation. You can see it's out 10 on its z-axis. I'm going to use the eval command, which a lot of people don't really like it, but you can turn a string into data. And then own base equals child. So own base end equals own base dot world position plus own base dot world orientation times own base offset. So what this does is it gets this point, that's what this is, and then its world orientation, and then times it by the offset, which brings us to here. So we've created a point in space that's relative to this guy. So no matter what angle he looks at, this is going to be back there. So base dot, we need to get the root object that's going to be casting the ray. So in the spine controller, up here, child root equals own. So now root gets stored in each spine thing when the spine generator gets called. So we're going to go back to camera control, root dot cast, ray cast, and then start own base dot world position. So now up until now, this is just going to be a way to draw a line. So now when this turns on, we should see a ray pop out from behind the actor, and we don't. So we're probably throwing an error. Probably throwing another error. Okay, so and I'm going to do from math utils import vector. There we go. So you see that blue line right there, that's a ray. And right now it's not doing anything. It's just there. So we're casting a ray backwards for 10 units from the spine. If ray 0, so we stored the camera inside the camera controller right here. So if we hit an object, we're going to want to move the camera to there. And then else on camera dot world position end. So now when we look up, if the ray hits something, it should move the camera to it, but it's not. I forgot to define the ray. Ray equals, right here. There we go. So now, if the camera hits an object, it brings the camera in. And that works really good for looking up and down because the ground is a constant plane. But if you're turning, there's something behind you and it hits it, and the camera gets past it, it snaps back. And we don't really want that. So what we want, if on dot camera dot get distance to end is greater than 0.1 on camera dot apply movement So now the camera should slowly slide backwards gracefully if you hit a wall and come off of it. So it appears to be working. To test it, I need a wall. An obstruction. So there we go, and I'm going to go ahead and set it's bound to a cube so it's more predictable. So you see that the camera moves forward and then snaps back slowly when the obstruction's cleared. Alright, I'm going to turn off the draw line. And there we go. There it goes. So there we go. This prevents the camera from clipping through walls behind you. Ah, this object's origin is below it. I wondered what was happening. So I needed to do object set origin to geometry. Now it should all work fine. I noticed it was the ray was passing through it there near the top, but not the bottom. But now it'll work all the time because the physics bound is right. So there we go. Camera controller.